Yo, what's up, YouTube? It's Gary Brown from 313 Hoops, and today we're going to talk about the Detroit Pistons starting five, their potential starting five for the 2022 to 2023 season. Now, before we get into that, if you guys can, please subscribe to this YouTube channel if you're interested in any type of Detroit Pistons talk. I'm going to be making these videos throughout the week as we go. Throughout the following weeks as we go into preseason, and then when we get to the actual season, there's going to be a lot more videos, a lot of coverage, talking about the games, what's going on behind the scenes, and all that. So definitely subscribe if you haven't already and you're interested in stuff like that. And even comment down below who you think the starting five is going to be for the Detroit Pistons. When we get to, the opening night, and then what the starting five is you think is going to be for the majority of that season, this coming season. But for right now, let's get right into this. So with the Detroit Pistons starting five, obviously this offseason we've made a lot of moves, and one of the biggest moves that we've made was trading Jeremy Grant over to the Portland Trail Blazers. Now, Jeremy Grant, for the past few seasons, has been the guy in Detroit. He and Cade Cunningham were the number one and number two. I want to say Jeremy Grant was our number one last year as Cade was still trying to develop. And Jeremy, he was a great representative for the Detroit Pistons, being an all-star, then also being on the U.S. Olympic team this past year. But yeah, Jeremy Grant gone. He's out over in Portland now. So the power forward spot opens up. So obviously with him gone, our starting five is going to look a little different, especially with all these new guys coming into as well. So starting off this video, the first guy that I want to talk about for our starting five, we're going to start from point guard, work our way down to center. So the point guard, there's no questions on who that is. That's going to be Cade Cunningham. Now, Cade Cunningham, I took a few notes and I wanted to figure this out real quick. He played last season and averaged 17.4 points, 5.5 rebounds, and then 5.6 assists. Now, those are incredible stats for a rookie for their first year. But one thing that people seem to forget is that at the beginning of the season, even before the season, actually, this was actually in preseason, Cade Cunningham suffered an injury that held him off. He played one or two games in the preseason before last season, and then he missed a few games to start the season. I want to say he came in maybe game 6, game 7. So he missed a lot of early development that he could have had, and so he started off a lot slower than the other rookie of the year candidates. But he did really start to pick it up. I want to say in December or January is when he really started to pick it up, and even especially at the All-Star break. He was the the Rising Stars MVP for the All-Star break. And from that second half, those last 20 to 25 games after the All-Star break, he went from averaging 17 points to averaging 21.1 points. He increased his rebounding to 5.7 rebounds, and then he added another assist from 5.6 to 6.5 assists. So his stat total was 21.1 points, 5.7 rebounds, and 6.5 assists. I believe this coming season, he's only going to grow from that. He's gotten about 10 pounds bigger. A lot of guys, like his coaches, him, and even, some of the guys, around the media are all saying he looks about 10 pounds bigger. So he's gotten a lot stronger, putting in that work in the weight room. It's going to be awesome to see what he can do this coming season. I expect him to average anywhere between 22 to 23 points per game. And I believe that this season is where he is going to be the guy. So this is his team. He's the number one dude starting out with Jeremy Grant gone and now in Portland. Now, pairing Cade Cunningham up in the backcourt is going to be none other than Jaden Ivy. I believe it's going to be Jaden Ivy, our number 5 pick in the draft. So again, Jaden Ivy was projected to go 4. However, he went to no training workouts with the Sacramento Kings. They never got to see how he played. They noticed he didn't have any interest in them. And so he slid from 4 to 5. And a lot of people are saying that he was, right outside of that top 3 superpower, 1, 2, 3 picks. He was that next guy, and he slid down to the 5th spot for the Detroit Pistons. Broke out crying. The Detroit Pistons, Detroit itself, We all have like this big connection with him. His family, he grew up over here. His mom played for like the Shock. His dad was over at Country Day. So he has all these ties with Detroit. So it's awesome to have him. But as far as his play style is, he's got future star potential. A lot of people like to compare him to John Morant, and I can see this comparison a lot just based off of how quick he is, how hard he drives down to the lane. He can dunk the ball really hard, really explosive player. So he's going to be very exciting out there with Cade Cunningham. A lot of concern is people are trying to see if he can, switch his pace, not just go 100% speed the entire time. So seeing if he can develop that and grow into learning more of the NBA pace will be awesome, especially, if we put him in the starting five, which I think is a 90% chance. I don't really see anybody going over him, maybe Killian, but I'm not so confident with Killian in the starting lineup. I think he's a lot better coming off of the bench. But yeah, Jaden Ivy, if he starts, in this rotation, he's going to really grow with Cade Cunningham. He's going to get a lot of reps. He's going to get a lot better. And I believe him and Cade can be the backcourt of the future. And just having them out there together this coming season, it's going to help a lot for their development. Now, we're going to go into small forward. Now, this is where things kind of get a little tricky. But for right now, the main small forward that I think the Pistons are going to have is going to be Saddiq Bey. Now, Saddiq Bey, he also, in my opinion, was a lock for making the starting five. Him and Cade Cunningham are going to be the two best guys on this team, and I think he's going to make a really big jump this coming season. Last year, he averaged 16.1 points, 5.4 rebounds, and then 2.8 assists. And then on top of that, you got to also add in he had that incredible 50-point game performance against Orlando. And that just goes to show that Saddiq has incredible potential. He can put the ball in the basket. He can score the ball. And overall, I think he's going to get better. There's a lot of talk about him training up in the mountains, doing all these crazy workouts to get himself in the best shape possible. So that type of work ethic, that type of drive to get better, that's only going to help this team out. That's only going to help Saddiq out. And again, he's going into his third season. So this might be one of those seasons where he's like on the verge of being an all-star. I can see him averaging, 18 to 20 points this season, along with Cade. Being in that 20 point per game range. So together, those guys are going to do really good, helping out the Detroit Pistons. Now, when we move on to the 4 spot, we get over to where this gets really, really challenging. So again, Jeremy Grant's gone. This opens up the power forward spot, and we have a lot of bigs to choose from. So I made a few different lineups because I can see this being like a very interchangeable position, but the main starting 5 guy that I have at the 4 is going to be Marvin Bagley. Now, Marvin Bagley was just re-signed to a 3-year, $37 million contract to the Detroit Pistons, and I believe that they see a lot of potential in him. Now, if we look back at the numbers, when he was in Sacramento, he was averaging 9.3 points, 7.2 rebounds, and 0.6 assists. That was while he was in Sacramento. He goes to Detroit, plays about 18 games, and starts for 8 of them. In those games, he averaged 14.6 points, 6.8 rebounds, and 1.1 assists. So he increased his scoring, like literally doubled his scoring when he went to Detroit. He's also a lob threat for Cade Cunningham. So having that in the starting lineup is really good for the Detroit Pistons. And then on top of that, you add in the fact that he was part of the Miami Pro League. He's got a nice little highlight tape that's out, looking really good out there, crossing guys over, hitting turnaround jump shots, in the mid-range and stuff. So he's looking really good, playing against playing like a competitive league. So obviously that's going to help him get better. Those competitive reps will always make you get better. And I think overall he would be really good at the 4 spot. I was thinking of putting him at the 5 because the guy that I have at the 5 currently could play at the 4 too. But defensively, Marvin Bagley doesn't really have that interior defense that I feel like would fit really well at the 5 spot. So I'm just leaving him here at the 4. But I do see him being a very major part, of this roster, and I potentially could be in the starting 5. So him, I want to say maybe a 30-40% chance of him actually being that starting 4. But again, it's a revolving door. So many people can be in that position there. So then, if Marvin Bagley's at the 4, at the 5, I have Isaiah Stewart coming in. I just didn't feel comfortable putting Isaiah Stewart on the bench, mainly because he has been such a huge piece of this rebuild that we started up about 2 years ago when him and Sadiq and Killian were all rookies. He's grown so much, and in the summer league, we saw that he might have a shot. Like, he might have a 3-point shot. I don't know how consistent it's going to be, but he can definitely shoot that thing, be a 3-point threat, for the other team. And basically, I was going to put him over in the in the 4 spot because of that 3-point shot that he's added to his game. But again, with Marvin Bagley there, I feel like the interior defense definitely goes to Isaiah Stewart. He's definitely the guy that you want there. He's smaller, but he can defend against just about anyone. He's really tough, really strong. Kind of reminds me of Ben Wallace in that sense. Not at the level of Ben Wallace, but just the fact that they're a smaller center and they can, play with just about any other center out there, guarding just about any center. And I think Isaiah Stewart, again, is going to have a great season. Adding that 3 ball is going to turn him into a stretch 5. It kind of stretches out the floor, helps the Detroit Pistons a lot. Shooting is very important in this day and age. But yeah, I see Isaiah Stewart. Now, so that's my starting 5. I got Cade at the point, Ivy at the 2. We got Bay at the 3, Bagley at the 4, and then we have Isaiah Stewart at the 5. Now, there are some other starting lineups that I think could happen. So another one that I have is going to be one where we want a little bit more interior defense while keeping our shooting. So the first 3 guys are going to stay the same: Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivy, Sadiq Bey. But instead of having Bagley at the 4, that's where we slide Isaiah Stewart. Again, he's got that shot, so he can stretch the floor. And then we put Jalen Duran at the center position. Now, Duran is also a rookie like Ivy, so these starting reps would be awesome for Jalen Duran to get better, get some playing against some of the best centers in the league, guarding the best centers in the league. And I believe his defense right now is good enough to be on the Detroit Pistons starting roster. And him and Stewart together, that 4 and 5, that is a scary defensive combination in the front court right there. So that would be scary for any team to go up against. And I think that could be another starting roster that works too against certain teams. Now, if we chose to go small ball, we could go Cade Cunningham, Ivy at the 2, but then at the 3, we could go Livers, who is a great all-around player. He could be the glue guy for the Detroit Pistons, does exactly what you need him to do in any situation. And then we add Sadiq Bey at the 4, so Bey stretches down to the 4, shoots the ball, whatnot, and then we have Stu, who is also, again, adding in that shot. That helps out so much, and we could have a roster, a lineup that can spread the floor dangerously with Cade and Ivy, running the plays and all that. Again, like I said Ivy running the plays. I think that's something that he'll grow into. But naturally, I think Cade Cunningham is going to be the main distributor, the main ball handler for this team. But again, seeing how the Pistons are, a lineup like that, we move the ball a lot. We get the ball to the open man. A lineup like that could be dangerous as well. Cade, Ivy, Livers, Bey, Stu. Again, we've got the one with more defense: Cade, Ivy, Bey, Stu, and Duran. And then the main one that I think is going to be Cade, Ivy, Bey, Bagley, and Stu. But again, those are the starting 5s that I think are possible here in for the Detroit Pistons in the 2022 to 2023 season. I want you guys to comment down below again, see if you have any other starting 5s that maybe I missed, or just ones that you think would work better than the ones that I put up. I'd be willing to, read, see what your thoughts are. And, we can just kind of just chat about it, talk about it. Definitely subscribe if you haven't already. If you've watched this entire video and you haven't already, we will be making more videos on the 313 Hoops YouTube channel. Again, this is only my 3rd video, so this channel is definitely going to be growing. We added, I want to say, 20-something subscribers on the last video, got about 300 views, so I really like seeing how the numbers went with that last video. So if you haven't checked that one out, check it out. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Please comment, like, and subscribe. I'll be back with another video. Peace.